Book 3, Part 2 of Ovid's Metamorphoses. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Leni. Metamorphoses by Publius Ovidius Naso. Translated by Brooks Moore. Book 3, Part 2. Hapless Actaeon's end in various ways was now regarded. Some deplored his doom, but others praised Diana's chastity, and all gave many reasons. But the spouse of Jove, alone remaining silent, gave nor praise nor blame. Whenever calamity befell the race of Cadmus, she rejoiced in secret, for she visited her rage on all Europa's kindred. Now a fresh occasion had been added to her grief, and wild with jealousy of Semele, her tongue as ever ready to her rage, lets loose a torrent of abuse. Away, away with words! Why should I speak of it? Let me attack her, let me spoil that jade. Am I not Juno, the supreme of heaven, queen of the flashing sceptre? Am I not sister and wife of Jove omnipotent? She even wishes to be known by him, a mother of a deity, a joy almost denied to me. Great confidence has she in her great beauty. Nevertheless, I shall so weave the web the bolt of Jove would fail to save her. Let the gods deny that I am Saturn's daughter, if her shade descend not stricken to the Stygian wave. She rose up quickly from her shining throne, and hidden in a cloud of fiery hue descended to the home of Semele, and while encompassed by the cloud, transformed her whole appearance as to counterfeit old Beryl, an Epidaurian nurse who tended Semele. Her tresses changed to grey, her smooth skin wrinkled, and her step grown feeble as she moved, with trembling limbs. Her voice was quavering as an ancient dame's, as Juno, thus disguised, began to talk to Semele. When presently the name of Jove was mentioned, artful Juno thus, doubtful that Jupiter could be her love: when Jove appears to pledge his love to you, implore him to assume his majesty and all his glory, even as he does in presence of his stately Juno. Yea, implore him to caress you as a god. With artful words as these the goddess worked upon the trusting mind of Semele, daughter of Cadmus, till she begged of Jove a boon that only hastened her sad death. For Jove, not knowing her design, replied, "Whatever thy wish, it shall not be denied, and that thy heart shall suffer no distrust, I pledge me by that deity, the waves of the deep Stygian lake, oath of the gods." All overjoyed at her misfortune, proud that she prevailed, and pleased that she secured of him a promise that could only cause her own disaster, Semele addressed almighty Jove: "Come unto me in all the splendor of thy glory, as thy might is shown to Juno, goddess of the skies." Fain would he stifle her disastrous tongue. Before he knew her quest the words were said, and knowing that his greatest oath was pledged, he sadly mounted to the lofty skies, and by his potent nod assembled there the deep clouds, and the rain began to pour, and thunderbolts resounded. But he strove to mitigate his power, and armed him not with flames overwhelming as had put to flight his 100-handed foe Typhoeus, flames too dreadful. Other thunderbolts he took, forged by the Cyclops of a milder heat, with which insignia of his majesty, sad and reluctant, he appeared to her. Her mortal form could not endure the shock, and she was burned to ashes in his sight. An unformed babe was rescued from her side, and nurtured in the thigh of Jupiter, completed nature's time until his birth. Ino, his aunt, in secret nursed the boy and cradled him, and him Nysaean nymphs concealed in caves and fed with needful milk. While these events according to the laws of destiny occurred, and while the child, the twice-born Bacchus, in his cradle lay, 'tis told that Jupiter, a careless hour, indulged too freely in the nectar-cup, and having laid aside all weighty cares, jested with Juno as she idled by. Freely the god began: "Who doubts the truth? The female's pleasure is a great delight, much greater than the pleasure of a male." Juno denied it, wherefore it was agreed to ask Tiresias to declare the truth, than whom none knew both male and female joys. For wandering in a green wood he had seen two serpents coupling, and he took his staff and sharply struck them till they broke and fled. 'Tis marvellous that instant he became a woman from a man, and so remained while 7 autumns passed. When 8 were told, again he saw them in their former plight, and thus he spoke: "Since such a power was wrought by one stroke of a staff, my sex was changed. Again I strike." And even as he struck the same 2 snakes, his former sex returned, his manhood was restored. As both agreed to choose him umpire of the sportive strife, he gave decision in support of Jove. From this the disappointment Juno felt surpassed all reason, and enraged decreed eternal night should seal Tiresias' eyes. Immortal deities may never turn decrees and deeds of other gods to naught, but Jove, to recompense his loss of sight, endowed him with the gift of prophecy. Tiresias' fame of prophecy was spread through all the cities of Ionia, for his unerring answers unto all who listened to his words. And first of those that hearkened to his faithful prophecies, a lovely nymph named Lyriope came with her dear son, who then 15 might seem a man or boy, he who was born to her upon the green merge of Cephissus' stream, that mighty river god whom she declared the father of her boy. She questioned him, imploring him to tell her if her son, unequalled for his beauty, whom she called Narcissus, might attain a ripe old age. To which the blind seer answered in these words: "If he but fail to recognize himself, a long life he may have beneath the sun." So frivolous the prophet's words appeared, and yet the event, the manner of his death, the strange delusion of his frenzied love, confirmed it. 3 times 5 years so were passed. Another 5 years, and the lad might seem a young man or a boy, and many a youth and many a damsel sought to gain his love, but such his mood and spirit and his pride, none gained his favour. Once a noisy nymph, who never held her tongue when others spoke, who never spoke till others had begun, mocking Echo, spied him as he drove, in his delusive nets, some timid stags. For Echo was a nymph in olden time, and more than vapid sound, possessed the form. And she was then deprived the use of speech, except to babble and repeat the words once spoken over and over. Juno confused her silly tongue, because she often held that glorious goddess with her endless tales, till many a hapless nymph from Jove's embrace had made escape adown a mountain. But for this the goddess might have caught them. Thus the glorious Juno, when she knew her guile: "Your tongue, so freely wagged at my expense, shall be of little use; your endless voice much shorter than your tongue." At once the nymph was stricken as the goddess had decreed, and ever since she only mocks the sounds of others' voices, or perchance returns their final words. One day, when she observed Narcissus wandering in the pathless woods, she loved him, and she followed him with soft and stealthy tread. The more she followed him, the hotter did she burn, as when the flame flares upward from the sulphur on the torch. Oh, how she longed to make her passion known, to plead in soft entreaty, to implore his love! But now, till others have begun, a mute of nature she must be. She cannot choose but wait the moment when his voice may give to her an answer. Presently the youth, by chance divided from his trusted friends, cries loudly, "Who is here?" And Echo, "Here," replies. Amazed, he casts his eyes around and calls with louder voice, "Come here! Come here!" She calls the youth who calls. He turns to see who calls him, and beholding naught, exclaims, "Avoid me not!" "Avoid me not," returns. He tries again,